Under a sky brushed with desert gold, the Nile breathed life into the ancient world. Each dawn shimmered like a promise upon its waters, carrying whispers of farmers, artisans, and dreamers who built eternity with their hands. In the soft hum of the river, in the slow rhythm of sandals on sand, the story of Egypt unfolded, not through its pharaohs or gods, but through its people. Tonight, we drift back to that timeless realm, where the scent of lotus flowers mingled with the smoke of hearth fires, and where every sunrise painted a civilization that refused to fade. If these words carry you closer to rest, let this channel stay by your side too, a quiet companion beneath the moonlight of history. Under the quiet light of an eternal dawn, the Nile moves, slow, patient, alive. Its waters have carried the breath of this land for longer than memory itself. It is said that if you stand upon its banks and listen, you can still hear the echoes of ancient voices, laughter drifting from the fields, the rhythm of oars gliding through morning mist, the hush of prayers rising toward the sun. This was Egypt. Not just the Egypt of kings and pyramids, but of ordinary souls, farmers, mothers, children, whose lives, though simple, were woven with the same thread as the gods they worshipped. Here, beneath the endless sky, every heartbeat mirrored the pulse of the river. Every sunrise was rebirth. Every breath, a small act of devotion. Beyond the golden monuments and carved stone, there lived a gentler truth, the quiet grace of daily life. The smell of fresh bread baking in clay ovens. The laughter of a child chasing shadows on a mud brick wall. The low murmur of a fisherman whispering to the water before casting his net. Moments so fragile, so human, yet eternal in their simplicity. The ancient Egyptians believed the world was held together by Ma'at, a balance between light and dark, order and chaos, life and death. To live well was to live in harmony with this rhythm, to walk gently through the world, to give thanks to the sun, to honor the water that gave life and took it away. And so tonight, as the river of time flows quietly through your imagination, we return to that golden land, not to gaze upon its pharaohs, but to walk beside its people. To sit with them in the glow of their hearths, to listen to their songs, to watch the moon rise over the Nile as it did for them thousands of years ago. For what they built in faith and tenderness has never truly faded. It lives still, in the stones, in the stars, and in us. So close your eyes. Let the waters carry you backward. To the cradle of civilization. Where the story of daily life in ancient Egypt quietly begins. Chapter 1, Beneath the Eternal Sun, Part 1. The morning comes slowly to the valley of the Nile. Before the world awakens, a faint blush touches the eastern horizon, soft, golden, and alive. The river, still wrapped in mist, begins to glimmer as though the gods themselves had exhaled light into the waters. This is how life begins, every single day, in the land of Egypt. Not with thunder or glory, but with the steady whisper of water kissing earth. Along the riverbank, shadows move like ghosts of dawn. Farmers emerge from their huts of mud brick, bare feet pressing into the cool, damp soil. They know this moment well, the hush before the heat, when the air still carries the promise of the night's calm. Some kneel to touch the water, murmuring words of thanks to Hapi, the god of the flood, whose generosity makes all things grow. Others simply breathe, quietly grateful for another sunrise over the fields that bind their lives. The Nile is more than a river, it is the heart that beats beneath every breath of Egypt. Each year, its waters swell and retreat, painting a rhythm that the people follow without question. The flood brings black silt from the south, rich as velvet, spreading life across the valley like ink upon papyrus. And when it withdraws, farmers step forward, guiding wooden plows pulled by oxen, sowing seeds of barley and emmer wheat. Every furrow is a prayer, every harvest, a hymn. You can hear it if you listen closely, the distant thud of wooden hoes, the rustle of papyrus reeds, the hum of bees over lotus blooms. It is a music older than any temple, sung by the hands that built a civilization. Men bend to their work, backs glistening under the sun, while women tend to the irrigation channels, weaving baskets or grinding grain on flat stones. Children run barefoot between rows of green, their laughter mingling with the cry of herons that skim across the water. And above them all, the sun rises, Ra's golden chariot rolling across the sky. Its warmth wraps the world in radiance, and for a moment, the entire valley seems to breathe in unison. The Egyptians do not fear the sun, they revere it. To them, each day is the rebirth of the divine. When Ra sails across the heavens, he brings not only light but order, a promise that life continues, that the cycle remains unbroken. The land smells of clay and water, sweet and earthy. The breeze drifts through date palms and reeds, carrying faint hints of smoke from morning fires. A woman hums softly as she bakes bread in a clay oven, shaping each loaf into small round discs. The aroma is warm, comforting, the scent of home. Her eldest son returns from the fields carrying fish caught in woven nets, their scales still glimmering in the dawn light. Together, they prepare the first meal of the day, bread, onions, and a jug of beer brewed from barley. Simple. Ancient. Eternal. In these moments, the world feels timeless. The sounds are the same ones that echoed thousands of years ago, the splash of oars, the low murmur of cattle, the whisper of wind across the floodplain. Yet beneath the peace, there is always rhythm, an unseen pulse that drives everything forward. The Egyptians understand this better than anyone. To live in Egypt is to live in harmony with the eternal cycle of the Nile, the flood, the planting, the harvest, the rest. And so, as the sun climbs higher, the fields shimmer with life. Farmers chant songs to keep time with their work, voices rising in steady unison. It is not toil, it is devotion. Each handful of soil turned, each seed pressed into the ground, is an offering to both the gods and the generations yet to come. Their world is one of patience, of quiet repetition, where meaning is found not in change, but in continuity. As the day warms, the mirage begins to shimmer on the horizon, a silver veil over distant dunes. In the stillness, the air seems to hum. The desert watches silently, a golden guardian surrounding this slender green ribbon of life. Beyond the reach of the Nile, there is only silence and sand. But here, within its embrace, life blooms endlessly, as if eternity itself were rooted in the mud. The Egyptians knew this truth: to serve the land was to serve the gods. They worked not out of fear, but reverence. And perhaps that is why their civilization endured for so long, because they never sought to conquer nature, only to understand its rhythm, to live within it as one heartbeat beneath the eternal sun. And as the light stretches toward noon, the Nile sparkles brighter, its surface a mirror of heaven itself. Somewhere in the distance, temple bells ring softly, calling priests to morning prayers. The sound drifts over the fields like a breeze of memory, reminding all who hear it that their labor is sacred, and that in each humble act lies the touch of the divine. By midday, the valley glows beneath a fierce brilliance. The sun hangs still and golden above the wide river, and the air trembles with heat. The farmers work slowly now, their movements deliberate, steady, like the slow heartbeat of the earth itself. Sweat glistens on their shoulders as they guide the oxen, their feet sinking softly into the dark soil that the Nile left behind. The world feels vast here, yet intimate, every sound magnified beneath the weight of the sun. The creak of wooden wheels from a cart filled with reeds. The quiet laughter of children chasing each other near the edge of the water. A fisherman hums to himself as he casts a net into the shallows, its delicate mesh spreading like a silver halo before sinking. The Nile accepts everything with grace, its surface rippling, gleaming, whispering back to the sky. Nearby, an old man sits beneath the shade of a sycamore fig tree. His hands, hardened by years of labor, cradle a small reed flute. The tune he plays is simple, ancient, its melody rises and falls with the rhythm of the breeze. For a moment, the world softens. The workers pause to listen, their faces lit with a faint smile. In that gentle music, they hear their ancestors, their gods, their own endurance. Egypt was never built by kings alone. It was shaped by hands like these, hands that sowed and harvested, carved stone, carried water, raised families, and spoke to the gods in whispers of gratitude. In this land, labor was a language, each act a verse in a poem that spanned millennia. The pharaohs might be remembered in gold and monuments, but the farmers and artisans lived forever in rhythm, in every sunrise and every flood. As the sun climbs higher, the workers retreat for a short rest. A woman sets down a woven basket filled with bread and figs. Her husband drinks from a clay jug of cool water, the droplets shining on his beard like glass. Their youngest daughter curls up beside them, drifting into sleep in the soft shade of a palm. Around them, cicadas sing their endless song, filling the air with a gentle hum, like the earth's own lullaby. The Egyptians believed the world was born from stillness and order. To them, chaos was the enemy of all things living. So they built their days around balance, the same balance they saw in the river's tides, the sun's return, and the stars' unchanging dance. Even the way they rested carried purpose. They ate slowly, spoke softly, moved in harmony with what the world allowed. When the rest is done, they rise again. The men return to the furrows, their figures dark against the shimmering light. A group of young boys gathers reeds from the riverbank to make small boats for the evening's fishing. Their laughter ripples across the air, pure and bright, and even the herons seem to listen. Beyond them, the desert glows in silence, vast, golden, eternal. Everywhere you look, there is ritual. A mother sprinkles a pinch of grain into the wind for the gods of the harvest. A child kneels by the water, tracing small shapes in the mud, his first lessons in writing, in the sacred art of hieroglyphs. In these gestures, simple and unspoken, Egypt breathes. For them, time is not a race, but a circle. The same sun that shines today will rise again tomorrow, and again after that, without end. Their hearts beat in tune with that certainty. It gives them peace. It gives them purpose. And perhaps that is why their world feels so calm to us now, because they lived as if eternity was already theirs. The scent of lotus flowers drifts on the warm breeze, mingling with the earthy sweetness of damp soil. Somewhere, temple chants begin, priests calling out verses to Ra and Osiris, voices deep and melodic, carried faintly through the fields. The farmers pause, just for a heartbeat, to bow their heads. Not out of fear, but reverence. They know the gods watch not from far away, but from within the river, the sun, the soil, and even the breath they take. And so, the afternoon moves quietly onward, shimmering with light and sound. The Nile glows like molten gold, the fields sway gently in the wind, and above it all, the same eternal rhythm continues, steady, patient, and unbroken. For this is life in ancient Egypt. Not grand or hurried, but sacred in its simplicity. A life woven softly beneath the eternal sun. As the afternoon wanes, the heat begins to loosen its hold. The light shifts, no longer the harsh brilliance of noon, but something gentler, golden, tender. The river reflects the sky like molten amber, and the sound of life grows softer. The day begins to fold itself into quiet. Farmers rinse their hands in the water, washing away the dust and toil. The oxen are led back toward the sheltering shade, their broad shoulders glinting in the fading sun. A boy carries a small bundle of reeds for his father, proud to be part of the day's work. He does not yet understand the rhythm he's inherited, but one day, he will rise before dawn as his father did, guided by the same river, the same soil, the same endless sky. The people of Egypt did not see labor as burden. It was the pulse of life, the sacred dance between humanity and the divine. To tend the fields was to serve the gods, to feed one's family was to honor the world. As the women gather clay jars of water and the men secure the last bundles of grain, there is no sense of rush. Every motion is deliberate, peaceful. The smell of earth deepens as evening draws near. Smoke begins to curl from small hearths along the banks. The air fills with the scent of baked bread, roasted fish, and herbs crushed beneath wooden pestles. Dogs bark softly in the distance. The day's final light paints the mud brick walls in honey and rose. A soft breeze stirs the papyrus reeds. Somewhere, a fisherman sings to the river, a low, melodic chant that tells of patience and faith. His boat drifts slowly across the surface, the oar dipping like a metronome in water that glows with sunset. In that glow, everything feels eternal. The same gesture, the same song, the same river that shaped lives for thousands of years, all repeating in quiet harmony. When night begins to settle, families gather near the water's edge. Mothers hum lullabies to children whose heads rest in their laps. The stars begin to appear, first faint, then countless, spilling across the heavens like grains of divine light. The Nile reflects them all, a mirror of eternity. The sound of laughter fades into murmurs, and then into silence. Somewhere far off, temple drums beat softly, calling the priests to the evening rites. Their voices drift through the darkening air, slow and rhythmic, rising and falling like the breath of the world. Offerings are placed on small altars, bread, beer, flowers, and a few drops of fragrant oil. The prayers are not for wealth or conquest, but for balance. May the river rise again, may the soil remain kind, may the sun return. And though the gods remain unseen, the Egyptians feel them everywhere. In the warmth of the air, the glimmer of stars, the pulse of the river. To them, divinity was not distant, it was woven into every grain of sand, every drop of water, every heartbeat. As the night deepens, the desert cools, and the hush returns. The moon climbs above the horizon, casting silver light across the fields. The land rests. The people rest. And still, the river moves, slow, endless, whispering to the shores it has known forever. The Egyptians called it Iteru, the great river, the one that gave and took, that carried both life and memory. Without it, there would be no Egypt. But because of it, because of its patience, its pulse, its generosity, humanity learned what it means to live in harmony with the world. And so, as the moonlight touches the ripples, the people of the Nile slip into dreams. Dreams of harvests yet to come, of stars that guide the soul, of gods who watch with quiet mercy. The fires burn low. The last whispers fade into the night. And somewhere in the silence, the river continues to flow, softly, endlessly, beneath the eternal sun that will rise again. Chapter 2, The Market of 1,000 Voices, Part 1. The morning sun spills once more over the valley, but this time, it meets stone instead of soil. The city stirs awake, Thebes, or perhaps Memphis, its streets already alive with the hum of countless footsteps. Dust lifts in golden clouds as sandals brush the earth, and the air hums with the mingled scents of honey, sweat, and roasting grain. Here, life moves faster than in the quiet farmlands. Yet even amid the noise, there is grace. The market begins to blossom at dawn, spreading like color across a painter's canvas. Wooden stalls open with the creak of rope and reed, jars of oil and baskets of figs appear as if conjured from the morning mist. Vendors shout greetings in voices roughened by the desert wind, and the first coins of copper and silver clink softly in eager hands. A scribe sits cross-legged by the gate, his reed pen poised over a square of papyrus. His task is quiet but sacred, recording weights, trades, and debts in careful symbols that dance like tiny drawings. Around him swirl the rhythms of a world built on exchange, trust, and ritual. A baker dusts flour from his arms, a potter wipes clay from his brow, and a young woman with bright eyes arranges strings of beads in the sunlight, each one catching a fragment of the morning. This is the true pulse of ancient Egypt, not the grand halls of kings, but the heartbeat of ordinary life. Every street carries its own music. The clang of metalworkers shaping tools from bronze. The low chant of a seller praising his melons, sweet as the kiss of Isis. The laughter of children darting through the crowd, balancing loaves of bread on their heads like tiny merchants. It is chaos, and yet somehow, harmony. The Egyptians believed that the world itself was a marketplace of souls, a place of giving and receiving, of balance and exchange. And here, beneath the stone colonnades, that belief takes shape in sound and scent and motion. A spice merchant opens a jar of cinnamon brought from far Nubia. The air fills with warmth, sharp, sweet, almost holy. He grins as a woman leans close, eyes closed, breathing in the fragrance. Around them, the light plays on gold bangles, on polished alabaster, on the fine dust that glitters in every beam. It is not wealth that makes this moment beautiful, it is life itself, glowing from every face, every gesture, every breath. A young boy runs through the crowd carrying a basket of bread, fresh from the oven. The loaves are still warm, their scent thick and comforting. He pauses by the temple steps, handing one to an old man wrapped in linen. The man blesses him softly, touching the boy's head with a trembling hand. Such acts are common here, small kindnesses woven into the fabric of daily life. Near the center of the market, an artist sits before a clay tablet, his fingers deftly pressing shapes into its surface. He is no priest, no noble, but his work is sacred all the same. Through his hands, the language of the gods becomes art, hieroglyphs that tell the story of the day. He writes of trade and laughter, of goods exchanged and names remembered. In these symbols, time itself is preserved. The noise of the market swells and recedes like waves on the Nile. Each sound finds its place in the greater rhythm, the hammer striking bronze, the whisper of fabrics, the murmur of voices rising in barter and song. And though centuries will pass, though the sands will one day bury these streets, that rhythm will never die. It lingers still, in memory, in story, in the quiet spaces between the stars. The sun climbs higher, and the market grows crowded. Perfume sellers wave fans of ostrich feather, stirring the air with scents of myrrh and lotus. Jewelers display tiny amulets shaped like scarabs, symbols of rebirth and protection. Scribes record each sale, each contract, each promise, proof that life here, though fleeting, is never forgotten. And so the morning unfolds, a mosaic of faces, voices, colors, and light. In every smile and every call, the essence of Egypt breathes, patient, rhythmic, eternal. By midday, the city seems to shimmer. Heat rises from the stones, blurring the edges of streets and rooftops until everything appears to float in golden haze. The noise has grown thicker, voices overlapping, laughter echoing off walls of sandstone, the rhythm of commerce turning the air alive. The marketplace of Egypt is not only a place of exchange, it is a living heartbeat, pulsing with the energy of thousands. A woman walks slowly through the crowd, her linen dress swaying like the breath of wind against the river reeds. In her basket rest bundles of herbs, mint, coriander, and fenugreek, each tied with thin reeds. She stops beside a spice seller whose table glows with color, ochre powders, blue lapis dust, and the deep orange of saffron. Their exchange is brief but warm, 2 smiles, a nod, a few words of barter, and yet it feels like ritual. Every gesture in Egypt carries grace, as if the people know the gods watch even the smallest motion. At the far end of the street, a caravan has just arrived from the south. Camels groan softly as they kneel, their shadows long and slow moving across the stone. Traders unload ivory, ostrich feathers, ebony, and baskets of incense that perfume the air with sweetness. The people gather close, eyes wide with curiosity. Egypt, though ancient, is never closed to the world. The river and desert both bring strangers, and with them, stories. A storyteller sits cross-legged on a low mat, a small crowd gathered at his feet. His voice rises above the market's hum, calm, rhythmic, rich with expression. He speaks of gods who walk disguised among men, of lovers who found eternity in the stars. Children lean closer, their eyes reflecting the shimmer of the day. For a few moments, time dissolves. The market pauses, not in silence, but in reverence. Even in their noise, the Egyptians have room for wonder. Nearby, a scribe unrolls a sheet of papyrus and dips his pen into black ink. His task today is to record tax payments, mundane, perhaps, yet sacred in its own way. To write is to fix time and place, to turn sound into symbol, thought into memory. The Egyptians believe words have power, that to write a name is to let it live forever. And so the scribe works patiently beneath the canopy's shade, knowing that even this, a list of debts and goods, might one day outlive kings. As the sun drifts toward its zenith, the air fills with scent and motion. Fishmongers call out over the noise, their tables glistening with fresh catch from the river, tilapia, perch, and catfish, still shimmering beneath wet palm leaves. Bakers pull loaves from clay ovens, steam rising like incense. The smell is warm and sweet and familiar, the scent of sustenance, of comfort. A priest passes through the crowd, robes of white linen trailing gently behind him. He carries a small jar of oil from the temple, blessing vendors as he goes. The people touch their foreheads as he passes, whispering prayers under their breath. Faith here is woven into the ordinary, it moves with the air, carried in gestures, words, and glances. Above the rooftops, kites circle lazily in the blue. The desert waits beyond the city's edge, vast, silent, endless, but here within these walls, life bursts in color and sound. The Egyptians built their world upon balance, the quiet of the fields mirrored by the pulse of the city. One could not exist without the other. The land gives grain and gold, the market gives voice and soul. The afternoon light begins to tilt. Shadows lengthen, and the noise softens just slightly. A child chases a small kitten through the crowd, laughter ringing through the air. Two merchants shake hands after a long bargain, smiling with weary satisfaction. Somewhere, a musician begins to play a simple tune on a lute, soft, melodic, carrying through the streets like the breeze before dusk. And for a fleeting moment, the market feels like a dream made solid, a place where gods and mortals share the same rhythm, where the sound of living becomes its own prayer. This is the Egypt that endures not in stone, but in spirit. Alive in every breath of dust, in every whispered trade. In every soul that moved through the market of 1,000 voices. As the sun leans westward, the marketplace begins to mellow. The golden light turns thicker, deeper, coating every surface with a honeyed glow. The clamor that once filled the streets grows softer, replaced by the rhythmic murmurs of farewells and the low hum of the evening breeze moving through linen canopies. Vendors start to close their stalls one by one, tying down baskets, gathering coins, wrapping unsold goods in palm leaves. A faint smell of burning incense drifts through the air, sweet myrrh, warm and smoky, mixing with the day's last scents of bread, oil, and clay. It is a familiar perfume, the scent of endings. Yet even as the market quiets, there's a tenderness to it, a sense that tomorrow's dawn will bloom in the same rhythm again. A young girl walks hand in hand with her father through the fading crowd. She holds a small clay bird he bought her earlier that day, a toy whistling flute, shaped like a dove. When she blows gently into it, it sings, and her laughter rises with its sound. Around them, the city glows in the warmth of dusk, and for a moment, even the stones seem to smile. On the temple steps, the storyteller from earlier still sits, his voice softer now, slower, like a lullaby. The crowd has thinned, but a few linger, merchants resting after a long day, a scribe wiping his hands clean of ink, a young couple leaning close as they listen. He tells of a time when the gods themselves walked through Egypt in human form, disguised as travelers, testing the kindness of those they met. The listener's eyes gleam in the fading light, and for a moment, it feels as though the gods truly are here, hidden among them, breathing the same dusk air. Above the rooftops, the sky deepens from gold to amber, then to soft violet. The first evening star flickers to life, its reflection trembling across the Nile in the distance. The river glows, mirroring the city's gentle hush. The sounds of the market have become whispers, the flap of cloth, the shuffle of sandals, the faint jingle of coins tucked away. A group of women sit together near a well, laughing quietly as they fill jars with water. Their laughter carries a different weight now, not the energy of mourning, but the calm joy of completion. Children chase each other between the fading stalls, their giggles echoing through the warm air, until their mothers call them home. In those calls, there's music, a rhythm passed through generations, the lullaby of the Nile people. And then, as the last of the sunlight slips behind the western hills, the market finally falls into rest. What remains are small traces of life, the faint glow of lamps in open doorways, the distant notes of a flute carried by wind, the scent of spices that still clings to the stones. The Egyptians called evening the hour of reflection. It was the time when Ra, the sun god, began his journey through the underworld to be reborn again. To them, sunset was not an ending but a passage, an echo of the eternal cycle that governed all life. And so, as the people walk home, they glance toward the horizon, whispering quiet prayers of gratitude. Inside the now silent streets, peace returns. The same city that buzzed with 1,000 voices now hums softly like a heartbeat at rest. The day's warmth lingers in the air, the stones still hold its memory. The merchants will return tomorrow, the storytellers will speak again, and the same songs will rise over the same river. Because Egypt's beauty was never in its monuments alone, it lived in repetition, in rhythm, in the promise that no day truly ends, but simply folds into the next. And so, under the deepening night, Thebes dreams. The market sleeps, the Nile sighs, and the people of Egypt close their eyes, trusting that with the next dawn, the 1,000 voices will rise again. Chapter 3, Within the Home of the Nile People. Dusk settles softly over the valley, wrapping Egypt in a shawl of amber and rose. The air cools, carrying the scent of the river and the faint sweetness of lotus flowers that bloom upon its surface. Along the narrow lanes of the city and the open fields of the countryside, doorways glow with the warm flicker of oil lamps. It is here, in the hush between day and night, that the Egyptians return to the rhythm of home. A simple home, yet full of life. The walls are made of sun-baked mud brick, smooth beneath the hands that shape them. The roofs are flat, woven with palm beams and coated with clay, where families sometimes sleep during the hottest nights of summer. Inside, the air is cool and dim. A low table stands in the center, surrounded by mats of woven reed. In one corner rests a grinding stone, still dusted with flour from the morning's bread. On the shelf, small clay figures of gods watch silently: Isis, protector of mothers; Bes, guardian of laughter and home. The family gathers slowly. The father sets aside the tools of his labor, his hoe, his wooden mallet, his basket of reeds. The mother removes her linen scarf, the faint sheen of the day's work still on her skin. The children rush inside, bringing the world with them: laughter, sand, stories. The house fills with sound again, but this time it's softer, warmer. Not the noise of the market or the fields, but the pulse of belonging. A small fire burns in the clay hearth. Over it, a pot simmers with lentils and garlic, its aroma filling the room. The mother hums as she stirs, her voice barely louder than the bubbling water. The eldest daughter kneads dough beside her, shaping flat rounds of bread with practiced grace. The youngest boy sits by the doorway, carving a small wooden toy, his tongue caught between concentration and joy. Outside, the last light of day glows over the Nile. Boats drift slowly home, their sails catching the faintest breeze. Somewhere far away, a temple bell rings for the evening prayer. Its sound carries across the river and through the open windows, merging with the hum of life inside. The Egyptians saw home not merely as shelter, but as a reflection of harmony. Each house was a small universe, bound by balance, between man and woman, child and elder, labor and rest. Their world prized peace within the walls, believing that the spirit of the home echoed into eternity. To eat together, to laugh together, to honor the gods together, these were not habits, they were sacred acts. As the meal is laid out, the family gathers around the low table. They sit close, cross-legged, the firelight touching their faces in soft gold. The father breaks the first loaf, offering a piece to each child. There is no ceremony, no grandeur, only the quiet gratitude that follows another day of life. They eat slowly, bread, lentils, beer brewed from barley, perhaps a handful of dates or a slice of roasted fish. Simple food, yet rich with the taste of endurance. When the hunger fades, talk begins. The children share stories of the day, how the goats wandered too far, how a friend found a strange shell by the riverbank, how the market smelled of spices from lands they've never seen. The mother listens, smiling, as the father nods thoughtfully, his eyes reflecting the flame. Then, when the stories fade into silence, the father speaks in a low voice, one of the old tales, passed down from his own father before him. It is a story of how Ra crossed the sky, of how Nut swallowed the sun each night and gave birth to it again at dawn. The children listen wide-eyed, half dreaming already. The youngest leans against his mother's arm, lulled by the rhythm of the words. In this moment, the world beyond their walls, the kings, the wars, the temples, ceases to exist. There is only the small circle of light, the scent of warm bread, the murmur of voices, and the soft, steady beat of the Nile outside. The Egyptians knew that eternity was not found only in stone or gold. It lived in the quiet grace of daily life, in the meals shared, the songs hummed, the hands that held each other as the stars began to appear. And as the first night wind moves through the reeds outside, the home settles into calm. The children sleep. The fire burns low. The gods watch in silence. And somewhere beyond the window, the Nile moves on, slow, endless, and kind. The night has fully come. The air is cooler now, touched by the scent of the river and the faint sweetness of crushed herbs hanging from the doorway. The world outside has fallen silent, save for the distant chorus of frogs and the occasional rustle of palm fronds against the wind. Within these small, mud-brick homes, the people of Egypt live their gentlest hours. The fire burns low in the hearth, its light dancing across the walls in soft, shifting patterns. Shadows move like whispers, slow, fluid, ancient. A mother sits beside the flames, mending a torn linen tunic by hand. Her stitches are small, careful, almost reverent. Beside her, the youngest child stirs in his sleep, murmuring the name of a god he dreamt of earlier. She smiles faintly, smoothing his hair, whispering a blessing under her breath. In the corner, an oil lamp flickers. Its flame sways with every breath of wind, but never falters. The Egyptians believed light to be divine, an earthly echo of the sun's journey through the sky. Even this small glow, they thought, carried the touch of Ra, guiding their homes through the darkness. Outside, a man sits upon his rooftop. From here, he can see the curve of the river shimmering in moonlight. The water flows silently between dark banks, its silver path stretching far into the distance. He breathes deeply, the night air cool against his skin, and lets his thoughts drift like the boats below. He thinks of the harvest yet to come, of his children's laughter, of the eternal promise that life will begin anew when dawn returns. Egyptians often slept beneath the stars in the summer months. The roofs were their resting places, open to the heavens, kissed by the wind. Couples would lie side by side, tracing constellations across the sky, whispering stories of gods who once dwelled among them. The Milky Way, they believed, was a celestial reflection of the Nile, a river of souls flowing through eternity. Below, in the quiet rooms, the family's modest treasures rest on small shelves: clay amulets in the shape of the Eye of Horus for protection, a small scarab carved from turquoise, and a few dried lotus flowers, pressed long ago between pages of papyrus. Each object holds meaning, not for its worth, but for the love placed within it. Every home in Egypt, no matter how humble, was a sanctuary of small miracles. A faint rhythm begins in the distance, the slow beat of a drum from the temple across the water. It is the priest's midnight prayer, calling out to Osiris and the spirits of the ancestors. The sound carries through the still air, deep and gentle, like a heartbeat echoing through time. The man on the rooftop closes his eyes, listening. The rhythm steadies him. It is both prayer and lullaby. Down below, the mother has finished her sewing. She sets the tunic aside and kneels briefly before the small altar by the wall. She offers a few grains of barley, a drop of oil, and a whispered wish for protection. To her, this is not ritual, it is conversation. The gods are not distant beings of unreachable grandeur, they live here, among the people, in the flicker of flame and the flow of river. As the night deepens, the home grows still. The lamp fades. The stars shimmer through the open doorway, casting faint patterns across the floor. A cat curls at the threshold, its golden eyes reflecting the moonlight. Egyptians loved their cats, not only as companions but as guardians of the home, symbols of grace and divine balance. The cat stretches once, then settles again, perfectly at peace. Somewhere far off, a night bird calls. The sound drifts through the air like a sigh. Inside, the family sleeps. Their dreams are gentle, of green fields and flowing water, of gods with kind faces, of sunlight waiting just beyond the horizon. The Nile itself seems to dream with them. Its waters move in slow murmurs, touching the shore with a sound like breath. And beneath the stars, Egypt slumbers, a land balanced perfectly between the mortal and the divine. Because here, in these humble homes, eternity is not built of stone. It lives in silence, in warmth, in love that endures beneath the moonlight of the Nile. The first whispers of dawn brush the horizon in pale silver. The stars begin to dim, one by one, retreating into the blue veil of morning. The air still holds the cool breath of night, soft and clean, carrying the faint perfume of water lilies opening once more on the Nile. Inside the sleeping homes, the stillness is deep and tender, a silence so complete it feels sacred. Then, from somewhere beyond the fields, a rooster calls. The sound stirs life back into motion. A child turns in his sleep, then blinks awake, his small hands rubbing against the woven mat. A moment later, the mother rises. Her movements are slow, unhurried, like a ritual learned not through instruction, but through memory itself. She lights the small oil lamp once more, shielding the flame with her hand. In that soft glow, the room comes alive again, walls, tools, the faint glimmer of a copper bowl, the quiet rhythm of breathing. Morning in Egypt begins not with noise, but with devotion. The father kneels by the doorway, facing east, where the sky is just beginning to blush with light. He whispers a prayer to Ra, the sun god, thanking him for another chance at life, another journey through the day. Rise strong, O Ra, he murmurs, and carry us with your warmth. The same prayer his father spoke, and his father before him. A lineage of gratitude stretching back into eternity. The children wake soon after, their eyes still heavy with dreams. The mother washes their faces with cool water from a clay jug, combs their hair with a bone comb, and hums softly as she works. Her song is old and lilting, the same one her mother sang, about the river's kindness, the patience of the earth, the returning of light. The melody carries through the small home, mingling with the first bird calls outside. Breakfast is simple, leftover bread, dates, and a cup of thin beer. The youngest child dips his bread into the beer, giggling as bubbles rise. The father smiles, not with amusement, but with quiet peace. In this moment, surrounded by the people he loves, the weight of the world feels distant, almost unreal. The gods might rule the heavens, but it is here, in these small gestures, that life's true divinity resides. Outside, the street begins to stir. Neighbors greet each other with sleepy smiles. A woman draws water from the communal well, a man carries a bundle of reeds toward the riverbank. In the distance, the temple bells ring, their tone low, resonant, ancient. The sound seems to thread through every doorway, every breath, binding the people together in shared purpose. The father takes a moment before leaving for the fields. He touches the doorway gently, as if blessing it, and whispers a brief prayer to Bess, protector of home and joy. The mother hands him a small piece of bread wrapped in cloth. Their eyes meet, not with longing, but with quiet understanding. Theirs is a love spoken in glances, in the passing of simple kindnesses that have kept families strong through generations. When he steps outside, the sun is already cresting the horizon. Its light spills across the city in waves of gold. The rooftops gleam, the river glows, and the entire valley seems to awaken at once. Children run through the lanes, laughter echoing against the walls. The smell of baking bread drifts from nearby ovens, warm and comforting. Life, once more, begins its gentle rhythm. The mother watches from the doorway for a moment, her eyes following her husband's figure as he disappears toward the fields. Then she turns back inside. There is flour to grind, water to carry, linen to mend. Her hands move without rush, her thoughts calm. Every act is both duty and devotion, a sacred weaving of life's small tasks into something eternal. By now, the light has fully entered the home. The walls glow soft gold, the clay floor warm beneath bare feet. The youngest child sits by the window, tracing lines in the dust with his finger, his first attempts at hieroglyphs. The mother watches him, her heart full. Perhaps he will become a scribe one day, she thinks. Perhaps he will write their names in the eternal script, so that even when the world changes, their story will remain. The Nile glimmers beyond the window, patient as always. It has seen countless mornings like this, families waking, fires rekindled, prayers whispered to the dawn. And it will see countless more. For in Egypt, life does not rush forward, it circles, breathes, renews. As the day begins in full, the home feels once again alive with warmth, laughter, and motion. Yet beneath it all flows the same stillness that has always guided this land, a peace born not from silence, but from rhythm. And so the home of the Nile people endures, not as a memory, but as a living truth. That the divine can dwell in the ordinary, that eternity begins with the rising of the sun. And that love, quiet, patient, steadfast, was the greatest temple they ever built. Chapter 4, of Gods, Dreams, and the Afterlife. Night has fallen again, vast and silent, the heavens glittering like a field of scattered gold. Across the Nile, the temples rise from the earth, grand, solemn silhouettes bathed in moonlight. Torches flicker along their walls, their flames mirrored in still pools of sacred water. The air hums softly with chants that have echoed for thousands of years. This is the other Egypt, the spiritual heart, where stone breathes with meaning, and faith is woven into every corner of existence. To live here is to walk in the company of gods. To the people of the Nile, every breeze, every flood, every sunrise was divine conversation. Theirs was not a faith of distance, but of presence. The gods did not dwell far above, they lived here, among the people, in the air, the water, the stars. Inside the great temples, priests move like shadows, draped in white linen. They cleanse their hands with pure water from the Nile, anoint their heads with oil, and whisper prayers to the gods of dawn. The scent of incense fills the air, frankincense, myrrh, cinnamon, its smoke rising in elegant curls toward the heavens. To them, this smoke is the soul's breath, carrying mortal voices to immortal ears. The priests begin their morning hymns. Their voices are deep, steady, ancient. Hail to you, Ra, who rises from the horizon, whose light drives away darkness, whose warmth awakens the world. The words are not just praise, they are power, meant to help the sun god lift himself into the sky once more. Each morning, the Egyptians believed, Ra had to conquer the darkness of night, sailing his golden bark through the underworld's shadows before emerging anew. And so, the people pray, not just for themselves, but for the very order of the world. For if Ra should falter, if the sun should fail to rise, the balance of all life would crumble. To them, faith was not superstition. It was participation, their daily breath helping to sustain the universe. Beyond the temple walls, life follows this same rhythm of devotion. Farmers pause in their work to bow to the morning light. Sailors cast small offerings into the river before setting out. Mothers whisper blessings over their children before meals. There is no division between sacred and ordinary, all moments flow into one current of reverence. And yet, for all their prayers to the living gods, the Egyptians held an equal awe for what lies beyond, the mysterious realm of the dead. Death, to them, was not an ending, but a passage. A continuation of life's circle in another form. They did not fear it. They prepared for it as one might prepare for a long journey, carefully, lovingly, with faith in return. The land beyond the western desert was believed to be the gateway to eternity, for it was there the sun set each day, disappearing into the underworld. The Egyptians buried their dead facing west, toward the realm of Osiris, Lord of the afterlife. They believed that just as the sun was reborn each dawn, so too would every soul rise again. And so, the people pray, not just for themselves, but for the very order of the world. For if Ra should falter, if the sun should fail to rise, the balance of all life would crumble. To them, faith was not superstition. It was participation, their daily breath helping to sustain the universe. Beyond the temple walls, life follows this same rhythm of devotion. Farmers pause in their work to bow to the morning light. Sailors cast small offerings into the river before setting out. Mothers whisper blessings over their children before meals. There is no division between sacred and ordinary, all moments flow into one current of reverence. And yet, for all their prayers to the living gods, the Egyptians held an equal awe for what lies beyond, the mysterious realm of the dead. Death, to them, was not an ending, but a passage. A continuation of life's circle in another form. They did not fear it. They prepared for it as one might prepare for a long journey, carefully, lovingly, with faith in return. The land beyond the western desert was believed to be the gateway to eternity, for it was there the sun set each day, disappearing into the underworld. The Egyptians buried their dead facing west, toward the realm of Osiris, Lord of the afterlife. They believed that just as the sun was reborn each dawn, so too would every soul rise again. As the sun climbs higher, its golden rays strike the statues of gods that line the temple courts, silent watchers carved from black granite and pale limestone. The faces of Ra, Isis, and Osiris glow faintly, as if the light itself were waking them from some ancient slumber. To the Egyptians, these statues were not mere stone, they were vessels, temporary bodies for the gods to dwell in when called upon by prayer. In the cool shadow of one temple, a young priest prepares for a sacred rite. He carries a small bowl of natron salt, a linen cloth, and a simple jar of oil. Before him lies a carved wooden figure of the deceased, a man who, in life, was a scribe of some renown. Today, the priest will perform the opening of the mouth ceremony, a ritual to awaken the senses of the soul in the afterlife. He bows his head and begins to chant in a voice that trembles softly like the air before dawn. Each word, each movement, is deliberate, a delicate weaving of life back into form. The figure's lips are touched with the sacred adze, symbolically granting breath once more. In the priest's heart, he imagines the man's spirit stirring awake beyond the veil, seeing again, speaking again, remembering who he was. Outside, the Nile flows steady, reflecting the sun in broken sparks of gold. The water carries whispers of countless souls before, and countless more yet to come. The Egyptians believed that just as the river never truly dies, neither does the human spirit. Death, to them, was simply another current in the same eternal stream. But eternity, they believed, must be earned, not through power or wealth, but through balance. To live justly was to live in Ma'at, the divine harmony that governed all existence. Ma'at was both goddess and law, the featherlight truth that weighed every heart in judgment. And so, in every act, Egyptians sought alignment, in their words, their work, their love, their silence. When the time came for one's passing, the journey of the soul began. In their sacred texts, the Book of the Dead, each spirit sailed through the underworld aboard a bark of light, facing trials that mirrored the truths of their life. They crossed fiery lakes, answered questions from ancient gods, and stood finally before Osiris, who presided over the weighing of the heart. In that solemn moment, the heart was placed upon the scale, balanced against the feather of Ma'at. If the heart was pure, free from deceit, cruelty, or greed, it remained light. The soul would then be welcomed into the field of reeds, a paradise where fields were forever green and the Nile shimmered under endless sunlight. But if the heart proved heavy with wrongdoing, it was devoured by Ammit, the fearsome eater of souls, and the spirit would cease to exist. Yet even this judgment, harsh as it seemed, carried a kind of mercy. For the Egyptians believed that to live in Ma'at was always a choice. Each day, each word, each small kindness tilted the scale toward lightness. A gentle truth that made their entire civilization hum with quiet morality, live with balance, and eternity will embrace you. In the markets and fields, this belief wove through daily life like invisible thread. A merchant giving fair weight to his neighbor. A worker pausing to share water under the sun. A mother teaching her child to speak truth, even when unseen. These were not small gestures, they were offerings to Ma'at herself. To live kindly was the highest act of worship. When night falls, those who have lost loved ones sit by the water's edge, speaking softly to the river. They do not cry in despair but in remembrance, for they believe their words reach across the veil, carried by the current. Offerings of lotus petals and small figurines drift away on the water's surface, glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. And somewhere beyond the mortal world, in a realm both vast and tender, the spirits hear. They walk among green fields, their hands brushing the tall grain that never withers. The air there smells of myrrh and honey. The sky never dims. And each soul, having passed through shadow, lives again, renewed, whole, endless. For the Egyptians, death was never a tragedy. It was transformation. A return to the divine rhythm that pulsed through every sunrise, every flood, every whispered prayer. The afterlife was not an escape from the world, it was the world made perfect. And so they built their tombs not as graves, but as gateways. Within the silence of those sacred chambers, painted walls still tell the same story, that life continues, that the soul endures, and that love, once born, cannot die. Because here, under the gaze of gods and stars, the Egyptians found eternity not in the fear of endings, but in the faith that every ending is a door that opens softly and leads, once more, into light. The night is deep and still. The stars shimmer above the desert, ancient and watchful, their light falling softly upon the necropolises that stretch across the western sands. Here, in this sacred silence, Egypt's greatest mystery breathes, the line between the living and the dead, blurred like mist over the Nile at dawn. In the city of the dead, tombs rise like whispers from the earth. Their entrances are small, humble, yet what lies beyond them is vast, a world carved by hand, painted in devotion. The walls bloom with color even in the dark, scenes of harvest, of dancing, of boats gliding through waters filled with lilies. These were not visions of loss, but of continuity. For the Egyptians did not build tombs to hold sorrow. They built them to hold memory, to preserve love against the wind of time. Deeper inside, light from a single oil lamp flickers over hieroglyphs that tell a story. A man named Nebamonius, once a scribe of Thebes, stands before Osiris. His heart is weighed against the feather of Maat. He speaks the negative confession, 42 vows of innocence whispered like prayer, I have not stolen. I have not lied. I have not caused pain. I have not taken from the hungry. Each declaration is not defense, but reflection, a gentle reckoning of the soul. As the lamp's flame trembles, the shadows of the painted figures seem to move. The gods lean forward, as though listening. The boundary between art and life fades, and for a fleeting breath, the eternal feels near. Above the tomb, the desert cools under moonlight. A priest stands alone, offering incense to the night sky. The smoke spirals upward, pale and thin, carrying names toward the stars. He closes his eyes and listens. To him, the whisper of sand is the voice of ancestors. The Egyptians believed dreams and spirits shared the same language, one of symbols, emotion, and silence. In dreams, they could speak across realms. When a loved one appeared in sleep, it was not imagination, it was visitation. The departed came not to haunt, but to comfort. To whisper guidance. To remind the living that love outlives the body. And so, many families placed small stelae, dream tablets, in their homes or beside their beds. On them, they carved messages to the dead, inviting them to visit, to protect, to bless. Come to me tonight, one inscription reads, that I may see you again and my heart be still. Even the pharaohs, though divine in life, sought these dream connections in death. In their tombs, scenes of the journey through the underworld unfold like celestial maps, the pharaoh guided by gods through rivers of stars, through caverns guarded by serpents, toward rebirth in the dawn. To read these walls is to walk through the Egyptian imagination, an endless unfolding of faith, order, and hope. And through it all, the Nile remains their silent witness. From its waters, they believed, life first emerged, from the tears of Isis, the sorrowing goddess whose love restored Osiris from death. Each year, when the river flooded, they saw it as her tears falling once more, a promise of rebirth written into the very soil. The land, like the soul, died and was renewed. The same truth guided their hearts, nothing truly ends. The setting sun will rise again. The seed buried in earth will bloom. The breath that leaves one life may awaken in another. To the Egyptians, this was not philosophy, it was nature's truth. As dawn approaches, the desert brightens with a thin band of gold. The tombs glow softly in its light, their entrances like eyes opening after a long sleep. Somewhere, a bird calls, the first song of morning. And for a moment, it feels as though the whole land exhales, as though the veil between this world and the next has grown transparent enough for the two to meet. The priest finishes his prayer. He turns toward the east, toward life once more, and walks slowly back toward the river. Behind him, the tombs fade back into shadow, holding their secrets close. But perhaps that is the beauty of Egypt's dream, that eternity was never distant, never unreachable. It lived in every dawn, every star, every dream shared between hearts still beating and hearts gone silent. For the Egyptians, the afterlife was not a promise. It was a memory. The echo of a truth they always knew. That the soul does not end, it changes shape. And flows onward, like the Nile, forever. Chapter 5, The Legacy of the Eternal Nile. The Nile drifts in silver stillness beneath the fading stars. It has seen every dawn, every empire, every whispered prayer that ever touched its banks. Its surface glows faintly now, kissed by the light of the waking sun, and as the mist rises, the world seems to hold its breath. The river does not rush, it remembers. And in its memory lives the story of Egypt. For over 5,000 years, this great artery of water has shaped the rhythm of human life. It was here that civilization learned to dream in color, to build in stone, to write in symbols, to weave time into meaning. Along its shores, men and women planted seeds of grain and of greatness. Villages became cities. Temples rose toward the sun. Knowledge was carved into walls meant to outlast eternity itself. But perhaps the Nile's truest legacy was not in its monuments, but in its balance, the way it taught a people to live in rhythm with the earth. Each year, the river rose with quiet patience, flooding the fields, leaving behind the rich black silt the Egyptians called Kemet, the very soil that gave Egypt her ancient name. From this sacred pattern of flood and retreat, they learn the nature of all things, that life flows, recedes, and returns. That death is never an ending, only a turning of the tide. On the riverbanks, fishermen begin their morning tasks. The same gestures repeated for thousands of years, the casting of nets, the slow pull of the current, the prayer whispered before the first catch. Their faces are young, but their movements are old, echoes of ancestors whose hands once did the same beneath the same sky. The Nile has always been the bridge between worlds, the link between past and present, mortal and divine. Farther downstream, children laugh as they play by the water's edge, chasing ripples that sparkle in the light. A mother watches from the shade of a date palm, her eyes soft, her posture calm. In that gaze lies the secret of Egypt's endurance, not in power, nor in conquest, but in peace. The peace of those who understand that all things, love, sorrow, faith, life, flow together, endlessly renewed. If you stand on these banks at dawn, you can almost hear it, the layered hum of the ages. The creak of oars from unseen boats. The distant chanting of priests greeting the morning sun. The rustle of papyrus reeds in the wind. All woven into one eternal sound, the heartbeat of a land that never forgot how to live in harmony with time. Even in ruins, Egypt still breathes. The pyramids, worn by centuries, still catch the sunrise exactly as they were built to do. Their angles glow gold, then fade to white, then rest in shadow. Within their stones lies not only human ambition, but human belief, the conviction that life, in all its fragile beauty, can reach beyond itself. And perhaps that is the truest gift the Nile gave to the world, the understanding that permanence is not the absence of change, but its embrace. The Egyptians did not try to escape time, they moved with it, sang with it, built for it, loved through it. They looked upon the endless horizon and saw not fear, but belonging. Now, as the day unfolds over the desert, the wind carries with it the scent of warm sand and lotus. Somewhere in the distance, a heron takes flight, its wings carving the air in slow, graceful arcs. The people below look up, and for a heartbeat, it feels like the sky itself is remembering them, each life, each prayer, each name. Because the Nile does not forget. It carries them all, every dream, every story, flowing softly toward forever. And even now, thousands of years later, when the world has changed and empires have faded into dust, the river still whispers the same truth to those who listen. That we, too, are currents in a greater tide. That what we build and love will outlast us. And that eternity, like the Nile, begins again each morning. The afternoon sun rests high above the desert, turning the horizon into molten gold. The Nile gleams beneath it, a ribbon of light threading through eternity. Along its banks, the palms sway softly, their reflections trembling in the water like thoughts half remembered. It is the same scene that ancient eyes once knew, unchanged, untouched by the noise of centuries. Here, history feels alive. It hums quietly beneath the sand, in the ruins of temples half buried by time. A stone carving of a lotus still blooms on a wall that has not felt human hands for 3,000 years. The faces of gods, though worn, still look toward the east, still waiting for the sunrise they were built to greet. The air itself seems heavy with remembrance, thick with the breath of lives long gone but never lost. And as the wind passes over the river, carrying the scent of clay and water, it whispers their names. Pharaohs, scribes, farmers, children, all carried in the same endless stream of memory. Their voices, once spoken in prayer and laughter, now echo only in the rippling of the current. Yet somehow, the river remembers them more faithfully than any monument of stone. In every civilization that followed, from Greece to Rome to the modern world beyond, traces of Egypt's wisdom endure. Its science of the stars. Its art of balance and proportion. Its reverence for life and death as equal halves of the same circle. The Egyptian way of seeing, calm, ordered, and eternal, became a quiet inheritance shared by all who came after. But perhaps the greatest legacy of the Nile is not written in hieroglyphs or measured in pyramids. It is the legacy of peace, of learning to live with the rhythm of the earth, not against it. The Egyptians found holiness not in war or conquest, but in balance, the same balance that kept their river flowing, their fields blooming, their faith enduring. They taught the world that greatness can be gentle, that power can be calm, and that eternity begins in gratitude. As the evening descends, the colors of the Nile change once more. Gold fades to rose, then to violet, then to the deep blue of approaching night. The fishermen pull their boats ashore. The city hums with soft voices, families gathering, lamps being lit, a final prayer whispered toward the stars. The same stars that once guided their ancestors across both land and afterlife now shine for those who remember. And in that shared silence between day and night, you can almost feel the breath of history, slow, patient, eternal. Egypt is no longer the empire it once was, yet in spirit, it has never truly vanished. It lives in every whisper of wind over the desert. In every carving that catches the dawn. In every person who still stands before the Nile and feels something stir within them, a recognition, ancient and wordless. Because Egypt was never just a place. It was, and still is, a meditation, on life, on death, on the quiet beauty of time itself. The river keeps flowing. The sand keeps shifting. And the story, like the current, carries on. For in the heart of every human longing, for meaning, for peace, for something beyond the horizon, there flows a memory of the Nile. A memory that whispers. We are all travelers between sunrise and sunset. We are all children of the same eternal river. And though the sands may cover our names, the water remembers.